So, hi guys, apologize, we're starting the stream now.
There's no one here yet.
Yeah. So, when someone log in.
So this is where I need you with the...
Should be here. Should be here. Yeah. Is anyone logged in yet?
Not yet.
It's something entertaining, like people that don't watch us, with all the AIs. Oh, there's a technical. Oh, come on, jump in. Someone jump in now. Let's take it though, you're on. Yeah. I'm gonna check to look at my phone. Okay, so then live. I can't exit from the phone actually.
Okay.
I can. I didn't.
Okay, I think we've got one viewer coming on.
That's me. Okay, so let's copy that link. Right? Share. Yeah. So we're watching now. Who's the second person? Copy link. Put the same bio. You see me now, right? So another. Share. Just photo. This. It's okay. It's, you know, they're always happy. No, to get rid of it. This is a terrible photo. Right one now. Right now. Absolutely. Sorry about sticking away.
Okay, there's two viewers.
Okay. So if I log in again now, it should be working on my phone. Hi guys, can you hear me? Can everyone see me and hear me? Yeah, I can see myself with my phone away.
There's no one there?
Yeah, there's two viewers.
Two. Is that including you and me?
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much.
Three.
Well,
No, three.
three, yeah, well, I just posted an online thing, so. Yeah. And I can't see how many people are there actually.
Get them to confirm the sound.
Guys, can you confirm the sound and the view? All good?
Yeah, just tell them to message or comment, please.
Yeah, so if anything that you want to comment on, please. Sorry about this technical issue, it was a bit annoying, but you know, shit happened. I shouldn't be scared. No one can watch me, yeah. Boop, boop, boop. I can do whatever I want, I can do the moonwalk. Oh fuck, I can see it. So, did anyone comment and say that they happy with, did anyone comment?
No.
Ah, okay. Sam, can you watch that actually? Yeah, I do the lights, right? Yeah, there's 4 people watching now. So guys, is everyone can hear me very well? You can see me very well? Do you have a glass of wine? I just had pretty much half a bottle to start this. You can't imagine the anxiety I'm in now, but you know, things happen. We live and we learn. And that's me learning a new curve. Anyway, stop talking now. So, how many viewers we got? One person still. What do you say for here? Say for watching now.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Yeah, sorry. So everyone's saying okay, the sound is okay, and everyone can hear us?
Yeah.
Alright, so hi everyone, thank you very much for your patience. I'm really sorry about all the delays and the hiccups. Be patient with us, we're trying to build something new here, so we all kind of like children in the playground. is our toys. Thank you for watching our toys. I like that we say. Thank you for watching our toys. And today, like, you know, if you don't know me yet, my name is Mo. I don't know what I do, I just put some colors on some surfaces and it's like a Xerox of my brain. And that's why we're here today. We're trying to show you some kind of the way I think and the way I represent things. So thank you all for coming and really appreciate your patience. And thanks for the team here from Dalston, Dan, and Paolo with the sound, and Sam with lights and everything else. Today, so I'm going to be taking you through kind of how I created this series and why I created it, and me growing up as an artist. You know, art wasn't my profession for only for the last 2 years. And through this process, I've been learning a lot, and you know, without going into drama, this series was one of the main representation of how I create my work. And the reason for that, by December, when the second lockdown, the third lockdown came in, with all of the dramas of the COVID and stuff, I thought I had this lock. My brain couldn't think about any artwork, and it was really kind of weird period. And the lockdown comes in, and you get the stress. I can't do any more work. I can't do any of that. And then I started, trying to get stressed about it and trying to create anything and reach out to all of my friends if anyone wants anything to be represented in a specific way. However, this came up with a painting that I did that was a really nice fundamental memory for me to move here in the UK. And I did this painting, and after that I did some mistakes, which I assume some mistakes. So my self-taught artist, just to explain. And when I did this mistake, I really liked it. I thought like, man, shoot, that's really kind of how I see it. And I started experimenting with another piece. And then I was going through all of my other work. I was moving house in the beginning of January, and I came through to one of the pieces I made in the last, in a series back in September, called Reborn. And it was about one of my favorite historical characters of all time, called Prometheus, right? And if you don't know a bit more Prometheus, I'm gonna be like kind of very sophisticated with that. He was a titan that was pretty much how the Greek thought of us, what we are. It's the first time we as men, or as humans, I can't say men, understood that there is something beyond to wake up, sleep, eat, fuck, and pray to some mythical creature. And understood that they have something called conscience. They can think about philosophies and ways and strategies that they can build up their ego. So in my own representation, I think Prometheus is our key to cover our ego, which made us all, because we keep attacking ego, we keep saying ego is shit, and all of that stuff. And ego actually comes in the form of windows. You open it, you see stuff, and it closes. You open it, see stuff, and it closes. So that's how this whole series is built. It's built up in these chapters, represented in windows, and how I see it in my brain, to try to represent to you that we all made up of ego. And pretty much it's what made us the breathing, talking, thinking people there. Yeah. It's so deep, isn't it? Fucking deep, man. This is like the best way I talked about it ever. So to start by the whole thing, I borrowed the Greek mythology as I'm a big fan of Greek mythology. I think it's just fuck, it's blowing, mind blowing. And so I decided to take Prometheus to be representing my way of thinking about ego, and the Greek mythology timeline to some part of the series to give you kind of indication of the Big Bang, the ending. Which is no fucking ending, but I just think it has worked. So, chapter 1, which is titled Zeus Board, and this one I had it from like kind of an item. I was listening to that book called Mythos for Stephen Fry, and he represented it in the best way ever. Sorry, there is one thing I forgot to say in my intro. We're going to be doing question and answer at the end, so if you have any questions or you missed a bit of this kind of session for our errors, you can ask it at the end and I will see it and I will give you a response. Or if you kindly want to come back to the next session at 6 p.m, we have no difficulties, I don't promise. But yeah, so let's start again. So that's the chapter, and I want to present here is called Zeus was sitting down, you know, enjoying this kind of creation, but he was like really kind of looking a bit puzzled, and Prometheus comes in because he was his best friend, because he helped him. So anyway, I'm not going to give you a Greek mythology lesson. He pretty much was bored, and Prometheus was like, oh, what the fuck, man, why are you really kind of bored? Are you upset? And you're like, look at this earth, look at this world we created, full of animals, full of like rivers, trees, everything beautiful, but it's boring. It needs something to spice it up, something between us and the animals. And he was like, oh, something between us and the animals, like you're running out of nymphs to sleep with. And he was like, no, just get. If Hera knew that they're gonna be females, she's gonna be really mad. So let's make them all mad. So that's when Prometheus got the idea. And there is a lot of different stories about how this happened, really, but I'll go with that story. And then, if we move the camera a bit more to get Prometheus thinking, and that's when Making Man comes out. So I always thought, I'm fascinated by robots, and you know, Ninja Turtles and stuff like that, kids of the 80s and 90s. So I thought Prometheus doesn't look like us, you know, because if the Titans come in the form of gods, I think the best thing to think about is robots. So Prometheus, in my brain, is a robot. And that's him trying to make a choice between which color I'm going to create this kind of new species, right? I'm going to go, and he created a lot of kind of like, there's a really nice story about it, that he created a lot of kind of molds in different colors. There was pink, there was violet, and there was like red, purple, yellow, brownish, and he had like about 12 of them laying there, waiting for them to dry, and he made them like, you know, from Zeus' spit and Gaia, which is the goddess of all us all. To this kind of creatures, and he waited for Athena to give them the breath to be humans. But he had to wait for them to dry first. And if you're a clay artist, you understand that. And while they're drying, Zeus coming in, running and excited because he got a messenger that's telling him that it's happening. And you're like, Prometheus, that's what happened there. And while he's doing that, being the clumsy god he is, he steps on about a few of them and destroys them. And that's why we don't have humans that look. What colors are we? We have a lot of colors. Like violet or light blue. And that's interesting. And actually, when I did that painting, I did a lot of studies about a lot of things. And this is actually robotic equations for how the robotic arm move. And if I'm wrong, sorry, no one attack it, but I googled that. So here Prometheus sitting in his lab, creating man, you know, doing all of these things, as I see here. And then the whole story goes, which I'm not going to bore you with it, because it's a very long story from here to there. But however, for some reason, Prometheus decided to be a rebel, a hero, right? He's not happy enough to be the god of the gods, because he was before them, but then for the war of the Titans and the Olympians, he didn't. Not because he's the best inventor, he's the best person that ever gave us creativity, because he sat there and suddenly from some word that this Zeus tell him, he managed to have a commission and make a human being. Because that's what Zeus wanted. He wanted something like between man and everything else, between him and everything else. So, to cut this story short, there is one punishment that came out on man to not ever have fire on their own. Because, and I think Zeus is really correct in kind of asking that, because if I am Zeus, and I have this species I made that's very clever, very close to me, and if they have fire, they're gonna forge weapons, because that's what makes us Olympians, right? And they can do all of that. I'm not gonna give it to them. And in a metaphorical way, I think that the fire wasn't the whole thing of it. If you think about it, the whole mythology goes, beginning it was fire and trees, which relate to wood, to burning and all of that. Us humans trying to understand how we got this kind of thing, because to that point, I think we all like picked up fire from things. But we need to understand how we made it. And in this brain, it was much easier to say that Prometheus jumped in and stole the fire in the final kind of stalk, instead of saying, oh, there's someone thought about it and made the fire, and we are so clever. So it's a metaphorical kind of way of the old gods and the old kind of belief that everything is given to us, to the point that we need to make it. And we can make it by forging things that help us to make tools, that help us to be who we are. And once you get to that point, our brain is already evolved enough that we don't think about these gods. They don't exist anymore. these stories that we just wanted to explain things with. So fire is pretty much the knowledge. And in my series in linking up to the windows area, it's when you open that window and you see this new progression. It's your own translation to make it what it means. So in the old Greek world, they chose to have a hero that went in and picked up the fire, just to prove that he's rebellion, that he can say no to new ideas. And in that period, it's really interesting because you get all of these democracies coming out, and you know, and after that, this is a Greek, old Greek man wanted to understand why the fuck I'm here, and that's his way of interpreting it, and that's the way I see him, which I think is fascinating because we actually wouldn't be who we are without fire, and that's when this dude out there get really pissed off, and he was like, I'm gonna punish everything. And there is another whole lot of story in the myth that comes to get to that point that I wanna kind of sum it up. Is everyone can hear me all right? This is like the longest I've been talking since COVID. It's been a year that everything's been in my head, not on typing, like wasn't typing. So, cut the story short with all of that stuff, and Zeus got really angry at man and punished him with Pandora and blah 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 blah. Long mythology thing that is fascinating. We come to the punishment. And here is when there's no point actually why Prometheus did what he did, apart that he wanted to be able to define that understanding that I can't just accept because there is the lightning coming out of the sky, that there's a God moving that lightning and the thunder. It's just a reason to be done. And by having that brain that makes us understand this, we came to reason and we came to everything that we know. So I wanted to be, rather than him being suffering, like, you know, Prometheus being painting with so many paintings, which is beautiful. Like the ideas that comes out from our brain is amazing. But I just wanted to be different about it, and I thought, if I'm punished for being a rebel about an ideology that I wanted to celebrate who I am as an evolved human being that have creativity, I should be punished with the best lights ever. So that's when it came up with all of this festival. Even like the birds that are meant to be eating him is angry birds. Sorry if copyrights go in trouble with that. But that's what I wanted to say here. He's punished. And actually, to go back to the main story, Prometheus in Greek means the foresight. He sees the future. He sees what's happening, which is linked massively to my background. Then you think about business planning and how is it working, and you know, to give prediction and stuff. And I think he was a trickster. He wasn't that kind of like rebellion at all. He just knew that if he just waited next to this thing and managed that punishment from Zeus, at some point Zeus will need him back, because the Greek mythology take you back to him again, while Hercules come back to save him, and he come up saves the Titans from the giants. And again, I'm bubbling, but that's actually the whole point I'm trying to say. He already seen that he's gonna be punished, but he saw, as an artist that created man, he loved it so much that he decided, I'm gonna handle some fucking pain by eating my liver every night to grow back. And then at some point I'm gonna be free and I'm gonna be happy ever after. I'm gonna be the hero, and there is some fucking artist in London gonna be painting about me. So that's where the punishment should go. And from there, I end up with Greek mythology. I'm done with this because it's so long to freaking paint, and you don't understand how long that took. But I'm gonna slow down because I told to be slowing down. I'm ruining it for everybody, and I like that. So while we're doing that, we're gonna take you to the next chapter. Thank you guys so much. The Dalston thing, guys, and this guy is fascinating. We've been trying to do a project together for like about 2 years now, right? We met 2019, guys. And yeah, finally here we are doing it. I can't believe I'm actually holding myself talking all the time and not even freaking out. So that's when it becomes out of the Greek mythology to translate to, you know, every artist is egotistic, and all of my work is about how I think, because we are the only people that think the way we think. So that's when I transform that kind of thing to be a story about me. And that's Windows, which is basically, someone asked me before, like, how are you going to paint all of these kind of experiences? And I really thought about it, and this painting started about 1.5 years ago. And every time I worked on it, it was an idea for like a completely different painting for a friend of mine. And I just never really been happy with it. Been painting over a painting till I thought like, oh no, screw that, erase, start from the beginning, and I covered it all up and it came that way. and I thought to represent all of Sabala is a window that we'll be looking at, which is what I want to say from the beginning, is the windows of thought and ideas. You open something and sometimes it's so cold, so you shut it back up. Sometimes you're wearing a jacket, so you didn't care about it, so you kept the window open and you got a bit cold and you're having a cigarette, so you shut it a bit later. And sometimes you open it and it's sunny and it's working. You know, everything have a different reaction. I don't know what is my point from that, but I think there's a good point in it. However, that's exactly what I want to say here, that there's no point in any point. You're just living in a series of life that you will have experiencing being shoot at you. And you'll be expected to deal with it in a way that other people thought about it before you. But yeah, you will be the only one to react toward it in the way you react because it's you. And that represented there. It's like my upbringing of belief, my luck with everything I had and gone with, you know, the characteristic of my upbringing. I grew up in a textile family and I used to love my dad's factory, like just colors everywhere. And it was amazing. And I always like things geometrically for some reason. I don't know why. I'm not even good at math. But for some reason I like that triangular interaction between things. And I'm a big comic fan, so it gives me that kind of comic-y feeling, like I'm seeing little stories. And when you check this painting photos later, I would suggest to zoom in a little bit more. Don't let the bright colors shook you away. Just give a bit of thought. There's someone ideas there. And you might be able to see something that you didn't see before. And that's when I slowed down again, because I got excited. When I get excited, I talk too much. I might be in fire, so I'm going to be still in there. Okay? And that's another chapter that's so up of the fourth thought of life that we're going to progress to, exceed the gods, or what we used to believe that there's a reason of us here because we didn't know yet who we are. I think it really comes out scientifically in the beginning of like the evolutionary, the origin of species with Darwin. And I've always been really fascinated by the tree of life, this tree that he had this APT, and trying to franchise every species at the beginning. And I love that a lot. I even have a tattoo on it on my back. So I wanted to paint it, and I wanted to represent. So this is the tree of life, and it's going on to that kind of fact of reasoning and scientific kind of approach to things that you might have a reason for what you think we are here for, but I might have a different reason. And whoever can support that reason might be the winning in the argument, and someone else come in and expect something different, because you always learn, right? So that's my tree of life, which is representing from Prometheus kind of knowledge that we got, the reasoning and the thinking and the scientific approach to things. And then when it comes in, it turned out all to be why all of these people did that. Like, why did someone actually sit down and say, I want to understand how fire happened, so I'm going to imagine that there's a god stole it from another god. Or it's by fraction, or it's by generating heat that I react with oxygen. Whatever that reason is, what made all of these people think about it to be done that way? Which is why I made all of this series, ego. So our ego is the main drive to regardless whatever we want to achieve. The rebel that wants a rebellion to be punished all the time is doing it to fulfill his ego by thinking that he is that hero. And you can't go through that process without having a bit of ego. So ego drive you to study engineering, ego make you do a painting, ego make you do whatever it is. It's the way that you manage your ego is the way that we should be living with, which is the reason why I did all of this painting, is this painting. I lost all of my ego. Sorry, I'll go back. I don't know, that's fine, that's fine, we do mistakes, errors happen, errors happen. At least I didn't burp or do anything inappropriate. So can we move now slowly? Sorry. So, with that painting, I was trying to reach out to get what I lost. I used to be like the artist block, as I said earlier, in Germany. And that's when I realized I'm really doing this art to achieve something out of it. I want to deliver a message. I want to deliver to people that I can talk to you now on camera for however time we have, being really anxious, which is Um, it's that point. I want to communicate with you how I think. So I want to communicate with you how I try to reason, why I reason with different understanding. And it's kind of like rough and harsh, but in the meantime, it's very insightful, because once you get to that point that you get that confident about what you're talking about, that people will listen to, it fuels the ego so much. Not in a bad way. It fuels it in a way that I wanna know how these people think about it. So by helping me by reviewing all of this, that would be really great for us, because we know how to make it better. And I'm actually really grateful that we had a hiccup in the beginning, because that gave us a bit of kind of, it actually cut off my anxiety, because I was freaking out before. And then to get more back to the technical things, so this is the main painting I made before about Prometheus. I did Daniel Reborn, as I mentioned earlier, and I came across it when I was moving, and that's when I came with the idea of Prometheus. So these two paintings is pretty much the reason for all of this. One of them, I cracked this kind of how to use my colors much better, and how to mix them nicely, and how to engage with the color matrix, and there's so many things I learned there. If you look at my old work and you look at this series, you'll find so much differences. You find something really nice about how an artist is growing up and becoming, better, I hope, because I think everyone goes better when they keep repeating what they're doing. And so this is really what it was. It's my ideas of thinking about the stuff I like, my upbringing, my dreams, my kind of books I used to love to read, and I keep reading to the point of doing what I love and getting it with new style that I hope that you like. And if you didn't like it, even please let me know, so I can know what I could do better, which is something very helpful. And then there's little pieces that I skimmed through it, because I kept coming up with ideas, and I wanted to be like about 7 paintings, the main 7 paintings in the series, and some paintings that show it. So I came up with this idea that I would make like little 20 by 20 kind of out of my sketches. And there is like 3 of them here. They are about 10, but unfortunately I couldn't get them dry in time, so you'll find them on my website. So this 3 is like one of the main things that was mythological kind of thinking and my upbringing. So this one is called Creation, which I would let you see what you can see in it. And I would love to guys know what you really can see in that painting, because anyway, just think about it, look at it, and then make comments, and I would let you know. And then forging, because we got fire, we just changed by fire. We started doing manufacturing things. We started to do weapons. We started to know, this village next to us have more resources than us, and that's when it all became. Every mythological story on that planet have a hero that do forging as a main thing. Look at it. So that's forging. And then Gaia, which the best thing ever, because Gaia is Earth. And the Greek mythology, when it started, there was chaos, and then came Gaia, which was in Earth was Coronis. And man, their story is great. Check it out. But this is Gaia for me, and yeah, I hope I represented it well. So please, guys, if you have any questions, I'm going to be looking at the screen now. Let me know what you think, and I'm really sorry about the kind of pain that we went through earlier. And it'll be lovely if you want to catch up again. We're going to be doing it all over again in 1 hour. So I'm going to go back this direction, slowly and slightly, and look really cool. Do I look cool? Yeah, fabulous. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope you kind of had a good time. We're going to be giving you more entertainment later. We will have some music at 8 p.m, so come and see it. And we have another session like this. There's a lot of awkwardness at 6 p.m, so keep tuned. And I'm going to look at the screen now. I'm not leaving. Well, I'm leaving. So I can get that with me. I'm going to take that with me. So it's okay? Yeah. Here. Hello, Melina. Thank you for your support. Yeah, it's nice, isn't it? The little size one. I think they're quite nice, because when you work with the process, it gets a bit difficult to represent everything you want in a little
you know, in a little amount of paintings. So yeah, instead of doing 20 paintings, I thought to do 20 paintings, well, I'm gonna do little ones of it. Oh, thanks. That's a great marketable idea. I didn't think about it this way, but I think, yeah, I get it. Well, do you want to work for our PR? We have positions open now. She's saying, I think it's wonderfully marketable idea. So I'm assuming that everyone can read English. Huh? Yeah, that's fine, man. I can be recording. We can record it again. We can be real. That's me, man. That's exactly the guy that this guy's seen earlier. This dude's here are awesome. I want to turn the laptop and show you, but it's not working. The camera is working professionally. I have a good career for stand-up comedian. Yeah, no questions. Can you guys hear me? All right. In that scenario, let's end the session and get ready for the next one. Love you guys. You've been really rocking. I'm looking at the laptop still. I don't know why. Thank you so much, everybody. This has actually been really awesome. And hopefully next session will be much more comfortable. Thank you. Excellent. Fuck me, man. That was really cool.
Well done.